tell us a little bit about yourself and how you started cooking.
Well, I learned from my mom. So my mom was a cook in the house, and she fed a household of 7 on a really limited budget. So she taught us how to look for sales, buy in bulk, freeze things, use what we have in the fridge to cook. So that's really where it started. And then a couple years ago, when we started Weight Watchers, I started looking at ways that we can still eat the things that we like pasta and Chinese food, but make them a little healthier. So that's where this recipe is from.
Great. So tell us what you're going to be cooking today.
So I'm making a honey sriracha chicken and broccoli bowl. Ooh. So it's a yummy dish. It's very easy. It takes about 10 minutes of prep, and then it goes in the oven and in the Instapot for the rest of the time. So it's very little cooking that you have to do.
Great. Well, that's what we like. Quick and easy, healthy meals.
Yeah.
Okay. We'll let you get started. Go right ahead.
Okay. So I already started preheating the oven. It's at 425 because that's going to take a bit to build up. And I will start with the rice. We are using it, making it in the Instapot. So that's going to take a bit. I will start with that first.
Okay, Instapot. Now, that sounds great. Now, all of us don't have an Instapot. So what else can we use?
So if you have a rice cooker, you can do a rice cooker, or you can just make it on the stove in a regular pot. So and there's a lot of variations.
Right. So in my household, we don't use a rice cooker. We actually cook it on the stove, where we put our rice in the pot, we rinse off our rice, and we put the water in, we'll let it boil. And when it's cooked, yep. Okay.
All right, so here we go. So I'm doing, and also for this recipe, it calls for brown rice, but you can use brown rice or jasmine rice or the extra long grain rice that we happen to have today. So that's what I'm using today, but you can use a variation of that.
Perfect, perfect. So do you season the water at all with any salt or anything?
Yeah, so I seasoned it with 3/4 teaspoon of salt.
Okay.
But you can add a little bit of butter if you want to, however you like your rice. We try to keep it simple, and we're also trying to watch the amount of salt we use. So after, if you want to add more, you can, but that's the base that I use.
Perfect.
And what's awesome about this Instapot is that it has a rice function already. So I'm hitting the rice button and it's set and it's going.
Okay.
So it'll take about 3 minutes to pressurize, and then it'll start cooking. And then in about 20 minutes total, it'll be done. Great. So for now, I will move over to the broccoli. So we're doing broccoli. You want to cut it into florets like this, right? And so the recipe calls for a head of broccoli. And I actually used back broccoli today. So I measured about 16 ounces. So I'm just going to cut the rest of it.
Did you say back broccoli?
Bag, like a bag of broccoli.
Bag, okay.
So it already comes chopped for you, but it comes in different sizes. So in order for the broccoli to cook as evenly as you can get it to, you want to chop it into smaller pieces.
Perfect. That's a real chef move. Make sure you cut them out evenly so that they cook at the same time. Great.
All right, I'm almost done with this. And so after we chop this, you want to season it. So the base recipe for this is seasoning it with salt and pepper, but I like to add a few more seasonings to it. So what I'm going to add to it is garlic powder and a garlic pepper. We're a garlic family. We have garlic with everything. So we very much like the garlic flavor on it.
Okay. That must mean you have a ring of garlic smell around your house all the time.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Right.
And we buy, Costco has those big peeled garlic cloves already in a giant bag. So we buy those and we use them throughout the month. It lasts us about a month. And we put it in everything.
Do you freeze it by any chance? Can you freeze that?
Yeah, you can. And actually there is some, if you look on the internet, some people have tips where they freeze it with some herbs and a little bit of butter and ice cubes. So it's portion controlled. Oh. And you can put those in the freezer too.
Great. Great tip. Great tip.
All right. So as I said, we're going to be putting this in the oven. So I have a baking sheet and I have it split up. So one side is going to have the chicken and the other side is going to have the broccoli. I just personally like to split it up because sometimes the chicken will release some of its juices and I don't like it to mix with the broccoli. So I'm weird like that. I'm gonna go ahead and season the broccoli, and actually, where is my, so we're using sesame oil for this. So about a teaspoon of sesame oil with the broccoli. That helps to crisp it up a little bit. Perfect. And then the seasoning, I already portioned it out. And then you just want to use your hands. Don't be afraid to get dirty.
Okay.
I just personally find that it mixes better this way rather than using a spoon, because then you can actually feel how it's spreading around each of the broccoli florets.
Perfect.
And I've already sprayed the baking sheet with Pam, so that helps to avoid sticking. And then I'm just gonna dump it all in here.
Great.
Okay. All right. So this, the way that I'm cooking it today, it should get you about 4 meals out of this, but it never lasts 4 meals in our house.
Right. And it all depends on the size of your portion too.
Exactly. It depends on the portions. If you portion it, you know, the healthy way, it'll get you 4 meals. If you don't, then it'll go for less.
That just
And
means
sometimes we do the bigger portion.
Okay, that just means you're a little extra hungry that day. That's okay.
Exactly.
And it's broccoli. What are you gonna do?
Exactly. That's what I'm saying.
Healthy.
All right. So the broccoli is good to go now. So now we're moving over to the chicken. So I've already started cutting the chicken. You want to cut it in little 1-inch cubes, right?
Okay.
So the way that we do it, I'm using 16 ounces of chicken breast now. And so we cut it in strips, and then from the strips, we cut it into the 1-inch pieces. And again, you want to try to keep the pieces at in similar size so that it cooks evenly. You don't have some tough pieces or some softer pieces. It just helps the cooking process.
Okay. Now, if some people prefer dark meat, they could probably use dark meat as well, correct?
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. I personally, again, I think out of everyone in the house, I'm the pickiest eater. So I only eat chicken breast. I don't eat chicken legs or thighs or anything else. So if you look at our freezer, there's a lot of Ziploc bags with chicken breasts in them.
Okay. All right.
Yeah. But we do have some other pieces. My husband will eat anything. So chicken breast, chicken thighs, you know, beef, pork. We have a variety of meats for him, but for me, I mainly stick with the chicken.
Okay. Very good.
All right. So here we go. So this is what it should, oh, I already hear the pressure building on the rice cooker. So that means it's starting to go.
So I'm sorry, did I miss how many chicken breasts are you using for this?
So this was 1 chicken breast and it's 16 ounces.
Okay,
And
got it.
so really for the recipe, you want to go with 24 ounces. So depending on the size of your breast, it may be 1 breast or 3 breasts. So I would recommend weighing it if you have a scale. If not, you can just kind of eyeball it, or depending on how many people you're cooking for.
Okay.
Okay, so here we go. So they're all chopped up. So I'm gonna do the same thing as I did with the broccoli. I'm gonna drizzle a little of the sesame oil, and then I'm doing garlic powder, garlic pepper, and a little bit of salt.
Is there any way to adjust the camera just a little bit where they can see the food that you're prepping?
Oh yeah, give me 1 sec. Is that better?
Yeah, we can see it now.
Okay, perfect. It was difficult to tell because I have the attendees on the right side that's covering exactly where I'm cooking. So I was hoping that you can see what I was doing.
Okay.
All right, and again, don't be afraid to use your hands. Just get it all in there.
So that's just salt and pepper again?
Yeah, this is salt and garlic pepper and garlic powder.
Okay.
I already hear the steam over here.
What else are you going to put in there?
In terms of seasoning?
No, in terms of any other ingredients, or is it just the broccoli and the chicken?
No, it's just the broccoli and the chicken. And so you can, in terms of seasoning, you can season it any way you like. You can add some Cajun spices if you want to, some more like paprika to make it spicier. But what we're going to add to it is going to be the honey sriracha sauce. So I'm going to make that after this goes in the oven.
Okay.
So once that sauce is made, you add it to the chicken once it's cooked, and then you drizzle it on top of the entire thing.
Okay.
So that's where you get like the sweetness, the acidity, and all of that extra stuff.
So if I wanted to add a little carrots to it or a little peas to it, I could probably do that as well, right?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. We've done that before. We've done that with carrots. That's another thing that we normally have in the house. We
Okay.
normally have carrots and broccoli and Brussels sprouts in bulk because that's what we like to eat. So yeah, throw it in there. I think cauliflower would also work too, just in similar textures.
Right.
Just to add more color also.
You know, I'm wondering, Chef Griselda, how would it work if we had the rice cauliflower? Remember that?
I haven't tried that yet, but we have some in the freezer too.
Oh,
And the way that I make the rice cauliflower, that would definitely cut down like on the calories and really increase the healthiness of the meal. But cauliflower rice is pretty finicky. The way that I've tested it on the stove, it doesn't crisp up as much as when you roast it in the oven. So that's just the only thing. You kind of have to play with it a little bit.
okay.
All right, so I sprayed the baking sheet, and now I'm gonna go ahead and put the chicken breast on its appropriate designated side. It's been seasoned.
So it doesn't touch because Chef Griselda doesn't like it to touch.
I don't.
How long is that chicken going to cook?
So it'll take about 15 to 20 minutes. Usually about the 15-minute mark, I start checking it. And then I'll even check the temperature on the food just because I'm kind of paranoid. You want to be careful with cooking chicken and making sure that it's thoroughly cooked. Also, because the pieces are so small, it won't take very long.
Got it.
All right, so this is now going in the oven.
Very good.
Perfect. So the Instant Pot says that we have about seven minutes left for the rice to be ready to go. And so usually when I'm making this is about the time where I pour the glass of wine and I sit and hang out and ready for the next step, but it's still work hours, so we're not doing that.
Okay, you and Anthony could probably do a little dance in the kitchen and
exactly
a little wine.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
Yeah, so that I think that's my favorite part of this dish is that it's one of those set it and forget it. You know, you set your timer, you check it in about 10 minutes, see how things are going. We have to flip the broccoli and the chicken just to make sure. I don't know how often you guys roast your broccoli, but it's my favorite method because it gets that deep caramelization on the broccoli florets and it's just so yummy. So I like to flip it in between the cooking time so that it all gets that caramelization.
Now, don't you do the same with Brussels sprouts?
Yes. Yeah, you can do the same with Brussels sprouts.
I know.
And those are delicious.
Yes. Okay. So, you know, do we have any time for questions now?
Yeah, go for it.
Does anybody have any questions in the chat? If you do, if you can unmute yourself and ask whatever questions you like to her.
I have a question. When I cook the cauliflower rice, I don't do it in the oven. I just put a little bit water and cook it in the on the top of the stove. So, and then you can put any spices you want. So it's faster and looks like really the rice.
Okay.
It does. It really does. Yeah, it's definitely something I recommend trying. It's obviously not like rice because it's not, you know, it doesn't have like the gluten or any of that. But it is a really good alternative. They sell them already rice, so you don't have to do any of the dicing yourself. You can just buy them in the freezer section and then cook it on the stovetop or put it in the oven and roast.
Okay, great.
Actually, I take the regular cauliflower, put it in my mixer, chop it the size I want, and that's it. It is much cheaper.
Yeah.
And you know, I know what I am putting in it.
Perfect. Thank you for that. Thank you for that tip. Do we have any other questions?
I wanted to get another container.
Okay.
I'm sorry, was there another question?
I'm trying to see if there's any other questions. If not, please just keep going. We'll just keep
Perfect.
going.
Okay, so while we're waiting, I'm gonna go ahead and make this sauce. So for this sauce, it's rice vinegar, it's honey, it's sriracha hot sauce, and I will give you a disclaimer on this one, and then sesame oil. So one thing to keep in mind about sriracha, so it calls for 2 tablespoons of honey and 2 tablespoons of sriracha. Sriracha will sneak up on you.
Okay.
It's one of those hot sauces where you don't realize it's hot until it hits you. And so I would recommend maybe starting with 1 tablespoon and then tasting it and see how you like it. If you like it hotter, go ahead and put the rest. But for us, we've definitely had to adjust it to 1 tablespoon just because it can get a bit overwhelming.
Okay.
Here we go. All right, so here we go. So we're gonna start with the honey. And also another thing, if you do make it too spicy, just put some more honey on it and that'll kind of kill the heat a little bit. All right, so here's 1 tablespoon.
Looks delish.
So there's 2.
We cannot see the bowl very well.
Oh, sorry.
There you go. Perfect.
Okay, perfect. All right, so then 1 tablespoon, as you can see, ooh, we're almost done with this one. Even 1 tablespoon is a lot.
Okay.
So imagine 2 tablespoons in this. It would be really spicy.
Wow.
Okay. And then it's 1 teaspoon each of the rice vinegar and the sesame oil.
Okay, and we'll send the recipe out to all the participants here today. I know some people have requested the recipe before the show. Unfortunately, we don't always know how many people are going to attend, so that's why we send it out afterwards. So please don't mind that.
So this is very simple, and it doesn't make a lot because it's really meant to just kind of drizzle on top. So we like to make a double batch of it, just so that we have enough not just to toss the chicken in, but then drizzle more on top. Okay. That's how much I like the sauce. I want more of it.
Okay. So then you would just double everything?
Yeah, I would double everything. Actually, I'm going to go ahead and do that now.
So the rice should be almost done, right? That was
yeah, it says fast. 2 minutes.
Wow, that's
so
fast.
After that, it'll the pressure will start releasing. It'll release for about 5 minutes.
Okay.
And then it's good to go. You just fluff it and it's ready to go. You can keep it on warm until the rest of the meal is done.
Okay.
Let me go grab another one.
So a release is similar to a pressure cooker.
Sorry?
The release is similar to a pressure cooker.
Yes.
Okay.
Having some issues here with this.
That's okay. Well, wait a minute.
All right, we went ahead because we use it so much. We have another one ready to go.
Wow.
All right, here we go. All right, so we're doing another tablespoon of this one and then another teaspoon of the vinegar and the sesame oil.
So that sauce doesn't require any type of other seasonings then? It's
no.
Flavorful on its own?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay.
And we've also made this ahead of time, so we know we're gonna make it. I'll make it the day before. You just refrigerate it, and the flavors will just get stronger over time.
Perfect.
Yeah. All right, here we go. So I don't think you'll be able to see what this looks like, but it's got this reddish flavor, this reddish color to it from the sriracha and the honey. So I'm just gonna put this aside for a minute, and then once we toss the chicken, we will sprinkle some sesame seeds on it.
Okay.
And that just gives it a little more texture, a little more crunch.
All right.
Okay. Oh. All right. So the rice is done. So now we're just going to let it release. And I'm going to go ahead and check on the broccoli and the chicken.
Okay.
That is hot. All right. Let's see. Can you guys see this okay?
You can.
Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and just toss the broccoli. It's already starting to get golden, so that's good. Toss it a little bit and spread it back out so that way it cooks all the way around. And then I'm just going to do the same. I'm going to flip as best as I can these chicken pieces. They're already getting that bright white color on them that we want.
Okay.
Perfect. All right. All right, and this goes back in and we'll check it again in about 5 minutes.
Okay. That's perfect timing because we have about 10 minutes left today.
Already? Oh my gosh. Okay.
Yes.
Do we have any other questions?
Do we have any other questions? I don't see any questions in the chat. Does anyone have any questions or any tips you want to give us? Give the viewers.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Well, I personally like a chicken bowl with a lot of stuff in it. So I would probably put carrots, a little peas. Who knows? I might throw in a little diced up potato.
Yeah. And I like that too. And that's my favorite thing about it. It's totally customizable. We've made it before with Brussels sprouts because that's all we had in the fridge.
Right.
We've added carrots to it. I want to try it with cauliflower, but that also helps keep, so the rice is really the part of the meal that isn't as healthy, right, as like the chicken breast and the vegetables. So the more vegetables you add to it, it'll cut down on the amount of rice that you have. So you're eating more good stuff.
Perfect. Perfect.
Yeah.
Very good. Let's see. Do we have any questions for anyone from anyone? I see you're putting more seasoning in there.
Yeah, I'm doing the sesame seeds.
Okay.
All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and take a look at the rice and see how it's faring. So one of the things to remember that we had to look up and make sure, because this is a pressure cooker, it hasn't released all.
We can't hear you. Griselda, we cannot hear you. Okay, there you are. I think you're coming back.
Can you hear
in.
me?
Yes, we can.
Okay, perfect. So I was saying about the Instant Pot, before you open the lid, make sure that you release any of the pressure that's left over so that you don't burn yourself with the steam.
Yes, please.
All right.
Love that sound. That means it's almost lunchtime.
No. It's kind of scary because you realize it's full of steam, but that's how you know it's ready to go.
Okay. We have someone that put in the chat that some research has shown to try to maybe use parchment paper instead of aluminum foil, because sometimes it says it can be dangerous for your health. So for those of you who might want to try something different, if you have parchment paper, you might want to use that as well.
Oh, yeah.
Thank you for
And
that.
parchment paper would work too, and I believe parchment paper is it's non-stick naturally, right? So you don't have to put any of the spray or anything.
Yeah, I might have to try that. Thank you for that
Yeah.
suggestion. Thank you.
All right.
Thank you, Gohan. All right, so she's fluffing it off. I see you fluffing it up with a fork.
Go. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go ahead and grab a bowl so I can put some of the rice in it and I can come and show it to you.
Perfect.
And again, just to keep, keep it in portion, I go ahead and use a half a cup measuring cup, and that's my serving.
Okay.
Okay.
Very good.
All right. And there's your rice.
All right.
And it's steaming and ready to roll.
Okay.
So let me take a look at the chicken, because this should also be ready to go too. So like I mentioned, I'm paranoid about temperature, so I'm gonna check one of these little pieces. Even though I know that it's cut. Just don't want to make anybody sick. So I usually just find the thicker chicken piece that we have here and then let it do its thing.
You're checking it for 160?
165 actually.
Okay.
Okay, there you go, 61, 62, 63, 65. Perfect, so that means you're good to go.
All right.
So the way that I do it is I'm gonna go ahead and sprinkle maybe 2 tablespoons of the sauce over the chicken.
Oh, okay. So you do it ahead of time. Okay.
And you mix it up. And then you can get ready to serve this. So there's still some sauce left over to sprinkle on top. So it's just to give it a little more flavor and so it can absorb a little.
Right. And I know food absorbs a lot of the liquid and everything while it's good and hot. So that's perfect.
Uh-huh. So then, like I said, this ideally would be 4 servings. So I'm going to take, you know, just a quarter of the broccoli. Okay. And then I'm going to do a quarter of the chicken, which is still a lot of chicken. So you
Okay.
just divide the baking sheet in 4s and you have your 4 servings. That's still a lot.
I think you've got a little broccoli on the side of the bowl, but that's okay.
I saved it. All right, and then some more on the sauce on top.
Ooh, that is a lot of sauce. You're right. Goodness.
A lot of sauce. And then some sesame seeds.
And show us the
And
bowl.
then here you have it.
Very good. A nice, quick, healthy meal.
Exactly. And
very
quick
nice.
and not a lot of fuss.
Okay. And so when you taste it, I'm sure it is yummy to the tummy.
Oh, yeah. I can already see it. It's delish.
Okay, well, taste it and tell us what you taste.
Oh,
It tastes yummy.
it's yummy. It's very hot.
I can see your cheeks are red.
And I can feel the heat from the sriracha building. So that's the thing with sriracha. It's a slow build and then it goes away.
Well, that was pretty fast. That was pretty fast when it hit you.
It does. There's the sauce. If you're looking at the components of the sauce, you have sweetness, you have spicy, you have the savory. So you can taste all of that in the sauce. Okay, we're good. The heat is gone.
Okay. Okay, maybe have a glass of water nearby, depending on how much sriracha you
I
put
will.
in.
Yeah, I have it.
All right. Okay. Well,
But there you have it.
Chef Griselda, thank you so much for sharing your dish with us today.
You're
Do we have any
welcome.
other questions? We don't have any other questions? All right. Well, I want to say thank you all for joining us today. We've had quite a few members here today. Thank you very much. Thank you, Chef Griselda. And
Thank you, everyone.
we'll see you guys next week on Quick and Healthy Meals. Same time, same place.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye.